Have you ever wondered why some apps just click? They feel intuitive and easy, while others are a complete nightmare? Well, there's actually a science to it, a hidden psychology that separates brilliant design from total frustration. So today, we're going to dive into that science, drawing on some fantastic research material from Dr. Sudheendra S G to uncover the secrets behind the tech we use every single day. And that, right there, is the whole problem, isn't it? Technology runs on cold, hard logic, ones and zeros. But we don't. Great design is all about understanding that difference and building a bridge between the two.
I mean, of course you have, right? We've all been there, staring at a screen, clicking around, just feeling lost or annoyed. But here's the thing, that feeling, it's not your fault. It's usually a sign that the design failed to consider how our brains actually work.
So how do we fix this disconnect? Well, the answer lies in a field called human-centered design. And at its heart, it's about a few key ideas that make technology feel intuitive, the overall feeling, what you see on the screen, and simply how easy it is to actually use.
Think about it like this. The UX, or user experience, that's the whole trip, from the moment you decide to use the app to when you finish your task. The UI, the user interface, that's the car you're driving, the steering wheel, the buttons, the dashboard. And usability, well, that's how smoothly that car gets you where you want to go. They all have to work together. All right, let's start with the very first thing you notice, the visuals. Our brains are absolute pattern matching machines. We're wired to find order and make sense of things in a split second. And you know what? Great design uses that to its advantage.
Your reaction here is instant, isn't it? The mess on the left feels, well, stressful. It takes actual work to figure out what's going on. But the organized view on the right, it feels calm. It makes sense immediately. And all that change was grouping related things together. That's design doing the heavy lifting for you.
There's a name for this kind of design magic. They're called Gestalt principles, and they're basically mental shortcuts. By putting things close together, making them look alike, or drawing a box around them, designers create meaning without you even consciously realizing it. It just feels right. Okay, so once we've got the user's eye, what about their brain? Let's talk about memory. Our short-term memory is, well, it's pretty terrible, actually. It can only hold a few things at once. The best digital products know this, and they work with our brain's limits, not against them. This is probably the best example ever. It's called chunking. A long string of numbers is intimidating, but break it into 3 small chunks, suddenly it's easy to remember. Good design does this everywhere. Breaking up long forms, organizing menus, it's all about making information digestible. And that leads to what is like a golden rule in all of design. And it's because our brains find it way easier to recognize something we've seen before than to recall it from scratch. It's the difference between this. It's like the difference between an essay question and a multiple choice test. On the left, you have to recall an exact, complicated command from thin air. On the right, you just have to recognize the little trash can icon. Which one feels easier? It's not even a contest. Okay, so we need to show the options, not make people remember them. But how exactly do we do that? Well, great design communicates. Just like objects in the real world give us clues about how to use them, digital buttons and links should do the exact same thing. This quote is just perfect. Think about it. A door with a flat plate on it just begs to be pushed. One with a handle invites you to pull. If you have to put up a sign to explain how to use a door, you've designed a bad door. And the same thing is true for a button on your screen. So, to get a little nerdy for a second, designers have 2 words for this. An affordance is what you can do. A button affords being clicked. A signifier is the clue that tells you what you can do, like the button's shape or shadow. The best designs make these 2 things work together perfectly. And here is a textbook example. That link on the left, sure, you can click it, but there's almost no visual clue. It's hiding. But the button on the right, oh man, it's using color, it's got a shadow, it's rounded, it is screaming at you, hey, I'm a button, click me. It's obvious, and that's the whole point. So when you put all of this together, guiding the eye, respecting memory, making things obvious, you get to a much bigger and honestly more important idea. Technology should just work for everyone. And that means thinking about accessibility from the very beginning and then testing it with real human beings. Now, these aren't just suggestions or nice-to-haves, they're essential. And the amazing thing is, when you design for accessibility, you often end up making things better for everybody. Think about it. High contrast text doesn't just help someone with low vision, it helps you when you're trying to read your phone in the bright sun. You can follow all the rules in the book, but at the end of the day, you'll never really know if something is easy to use until you sit down and watch someone else try to use it. That's where usability testing comes in. And guess what? It doesn't have to be some big, complicated thing. This simple little loop is unbelievably powerful. You just give someone a task to do, watch them, and have them talk out loud. Listen to what they say, and then you go fix the problems you saw. The big takeaway here is that you'll learn more from 5 quick, informal tests than you ever will from waiting around to do one perfect, giant study. Just get it in front of people.
And really, it all comes back to this one idea. The source material for this explainer says it perfectly. The best tech doesn't force us to adapt to it. It meets us where we are. It understands our psychology to build things that are clear, efficient, and maybe even a little bit delightful.
So I'll leave you with this little challenge. The next time you open an app, try to see it with these new eyes. Notice when a form is broken into chunks to help your memory. Notice when a button just feels so obviously clickable. And notice when you get confused and ask yourself, why? You now have the tools to see the invisible psychology behind every pixel.